Hey everybody, it's Clint Arthur, and I have a very special guest with me today via Skype. Her name is Pam Hendrickson, and you would not imagine it from looking at her, but she has over 20 years of experience creating products for celebrities and all kinds of self-improvement entities in the world of self-improvement. And I'm so grateful to have you with me as my guest. Thank you for joining me, Pam.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, I know you probably don't want to brag, but who are some of the celebrities that you have created products for in your illustrious career?
Yeah, well, I'm going to answer that a couple different ways. And, my career, without going into the long, boring history of it, is that it really kind of created a perfect storm because I grew up with a very academic background and I grew up in a very corporate town. I lived in Corning, New York, which is a Fortune 100 company. So then to take that experience and kind of bring it over to personal and professional improvement, I think was a really good thing because it allows you to take different things from different fields. So, I've been really fortunate. I started out and I was the vice president of content and product development for Anthony Robbins I was with the company for over 20 years and I was probably in that role for over 15 years. And it was such a great way to get my start because, gosh, I've been in this industry, Clint, without dating myself back to when there were cassette tapes, and there weren't. I remember when CDs came out, everybody was like, oh my gosh, we're going to start to use CDs. I don't know, people still already like cassette tapes. So I've seen a lot. But that experience with Anthony Robbins specifically, and I really credit him for teaching me the most important pieces of product creation, which, believe it or not, isn't the how-to. It was the what. And I don't think you could have a greater teacher than Tony for really setting the standard for what you're delivering for customers and how to think about it, which I think is a lot more important than any of the doing. And so since then, in the past few years, I've worked with a lot of people in the online marketing community, people like Mike Koenigs. I did a lot of work for a person named Darren Hardy. He wrote a best-selling book called The Wolf of Wall Street, which is being made into a movie. He's an interesting guy. He's a business and financial guy with a very checkered past. But what I loved is he had such a different business model for how he wanted to use products and services. So that was awesome. So, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt, but were you involved in Personal Power 2?
Personal Power 2, absolutely. I produced that. Well, we could talk about it later, but Ultimate Edge, pretty much any product that Tony Robbins came out with in the last 15 years. And, to be clear, it's his content, of course, but I put it together, I packaged it, produced it, and got it to market. So, yeah, you can pretty much ask me what's on any CD of any of his products.
Well, on a personal note, Personal Power 2 was my first product that I ever invested in the self-help industry. And at that time, I was a taxi driver living on a little tiny boat in Marina del Rey. I had no heat, I had no hot water, I had no toilet on the boat, and I could not afford the CDs. Okay, the CDs were an extra $30, I think. I had to get the cassettes, and I'll tell you what, Pam, I still have that cassette, that set right here, like 20 feet away from me, and that series, that Personal Power 2, is what changed my life. I mean, I was struggling to get by, and I did that Personal Power 2 program religiously, and then I did it a second time, and then less than 6 months later, I was at Unleash the Power Within, and it was no longer a struggle for me to pay $600 to go see Tony live. So
that's awesome. I'll have to get that autograph for you someday. But for sure, for me too, I started out as a customer of his, and that first CD, the number one decision that controls your life, create the pain pleasure exercise, so to speak. That's it for me too. I wouldn't be sitting here if it weren't for that. So.
Wow, it's so awesome to connect with you on that level. So thank you very much. You have my sincere appreciation for helping me to get where I am today.
Absolutely, and thanks to Tony as well. He's touched a lot of lives, and that's the thing I'm most proud of is just how many people he's been able to go out and touch. And so if I could make the process easier for him or leverage him or help package it in a way that people could really use it, then that's really meaningful.
Awesome. Could you name a couple of the other really successful products that you have worked on besides the Tony Robbins one and the Wolf of Wall Street?
Yeah, absolutely. Some are confidential, so I'm not going to name all of them just because I have confidentiality agreements with a few of them. But the Darren Hardy project was really interesting because this is a guy who really built one of the most successful brokerage firms in the history of Wall Street. And so I put together his marquee straight line persuasion program. And that was awesome because it was a no compromise product. There weren't, he wasn't so concerned about, the cost and all that. So we were able to do something really awesome. But my favorite, Clint, I have to say, are really just the everyday people. People I meet who, like me, had a job most of their lives and were in that position of, maybe they loved their jobs, but they were trading time for money at the end of the day, and really showing them a path to say, okay, I've got 10, 15, 20 years of experience in my field. And you know what? There's a way to take that and put it together and package it where you can have so much more impact, but also create more income, not have it be dependent on you, and also create a lifestyle that's meaningful. And I think that, although that's not probably the sexy answer, that's the thing I'm most excited about and most proud of today.
Awesome. Now, what are some of the essential elements of a hit product, something that's really successful?
Yeah, number one, and this is something I see no matter who I've worked with. I mean, people in entertainment, people in, hardcore business, people in personal development, people in professional development. And that is, you've got to start with the target market in mind. And I know that sounds so simplistic in a way, but so few people do it. And you really have to know who's that customer and what's the core problem that this product is solving for them. And then everything flows from there. So that's element number one. Who is this for and what is it going to do for them? Number two, you've got to have proof. So if you're starting out and you haven't created a product before, take a small group of target customers through your process. Do a beta test. Do a little workshop. Do a series of webinars, whatever it is. But take them through so you know it works. You have proof it works. You've got some case studies and stories that it works. And it just kind of helps you refine the process. And then from there, I'll give one more thing. So number one, target market. Number two, proof it works, taking customers through so you really refine your system and you know it's going to work. But then number three is structure. And what I mean by that, Clint, is if you really think about it, people are not paying you for what you know. So if I were to ask you any question on any topic, you could pretty much give me the answer because you could just look it up on Google. I mean, it's like last I checked, it's like 35,000 searches per second on Google. So people aren't paying you for information. And that's so hard to get out of our heads, but it's so important. What they're paying you for is, number one, your unique perspective on the information. What is your experience in terms of how you use the information? What lessons can they learn from you? What mistakes can they avoid from it? How did you apply it? They're also looking for your ability to break it down into a step-by-step system so they can use it. Because, listen, I can look up on the internet how, very answers to very complex problems, but that doesn't mean I can do it myself. So having someone break it down for me in a step-by-step process is so critical for my ability to use it. And then finally, people are paying you for your ability to create that human connection and to be able to really humanize it and create that relationship with them where all of a sudden you're communicating and working with them and they're having an impact on a human level, not just on an information level.
Awesome. Now, what are some of the key mistakes to avoid when trying to create a hit product?
Yeah, well, it's, I'm going to sum it up in one quote, and then I'll break it down for you. But my favorite quote I've ever heard from anybody was from Ken Blanchard, who's just a wonderful man. We all know him for creating the 1 Minute Manager book series, but he also has built just an incredibly successful corporate development business. And when he speaks to budding authors, he always says that the biggest mistake a first-time author makes, and I would extend that to a first-time product creator, is they try to put everything they know into their first book or their first product, period. So they make it way too complex. They feel like they've got to throw everything in there instead of going, you know what? Here's my target market. Here's the one core problem I'm solving for them, and I'm going to teach them how to do that in the most simple way. So that's really the biggest mistake that they make. And then that being
TMI.
And I think it comes from such a good place because I think it comes from that place of us wanting to give everything we have, and it's, oh my gosh, I've got 5 years experience or 10 or 20 or 30 or more years of experience in my field. I just want to give that to people. I want to make sure that they really are supported instead of realizing, less is more sometimes. And the better thing to do is if you can make it simple and break it down for them, that's going to have so much more value.
I think that probably leads us into the next question, which is, what is the key to making a product that people actually consume and use? So many people, it's like the big joke in the personal development industry is that people buy the stuff, put it on the shelf, and never open it. what can we do to get these people to actually open and use the products?
Yeah. It's such a great question, and there's several things you can do, but the core thing is number one is what I just said, is keep it simple, and simplicity is king. And if you can do that and really break it down so it's step by step, then people are able to use it. Now, I'm going to use a term here because I think it's an important, if somebody's just starting out, to understand there's what's called perceived value and there's what's called actual value. And you've got to maximize both. What actual value is, if I'm charging you, $499 to come over and teach you how to comb your hair better or whatever it is, I'm using a facetious example, then I better make sure that I'm giving you actually more than $500 worth of value. I've got to give you $5,000 worth of value in that. So you really got to make sure you're clear what you're promising your customers and deliver it. But at the same time, there's this thing called perceived value, which is, I invest $500 in your product. Does it feel worth that investment?
Yeah.
And some of that is, if you just put everything in, I'll pull it up here, but so many people come to me and they say, gosh, why don't you just put the whole product in a little USB drive? Well, number one, it's not easy to use. Number two, it's too easy for people to, share your content, and they really shouldn't do that. That's not legal. And then number three is it doesn't have high perceived value. It's like, oh my gosh, you need to tell me this is worth $500 versus if I have, DVDs and CDs and and it's broken down, but it also feels like there's value to it. So you've got to really maximize both. And then the most successful products I've seen are those that have community involved. So, there are reasons to do physical product, there's reasons to do online products. I'm not going to get into that here. But if you can combine them somehow and really make sure that the online part is focused on building community so that not only are you available to help customers, but they can help each other, and you're building a community of people centered around your mission, centered around the problem you're solving for people, then you have something that's so powerful and so sticky, so to speak, meaning that people really stick with it and follow through. And that's when you start to get really powerful.
Awesome. Now, you have just created a brand new product that I saw launched the other day at a live event. Could you please tell the people about your new product, and then we'll get into more questions about that, because it's so exciting.
Yeah, I love it. It's really probably the favorite product I've worked on to date. And I failed to mention at the beginning, Mike Koenigs has a new product coming out called Author Expert Marketing Machines, and I really helped him create and build a product. And what it's about is it's really answering the question. Is that your puppy on your end?
Yeah, quiet.
He or she is very excited about this too. So you can what Author Expert Marketing Machines really answers is what's the number one thing people in this industry need to be successful. So if you're a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a speaker, coach, author, expert, consultant, what is the one thing that you really need that's going to allow you to be paid more, that's going to increase your value, that's going to increase your influence and your impact, that's going to give you access that maybe you didn't have before, and that's going to really accelerate the growth of your business. And so I'm not going to give away what that one thing is right here on this call, but what it is Mike Koenigs and myself too, and other people who work with the product, when you look at who all we've worked with, it's pretty much everybody. And so we went to these people and really talked to them and said, okay, if you were starting from scratch today, what would you do differently? And as we did that, we noticed a very clear, distinct pattern for what they would do if they were just starting out to get to where they want to be. So what Mike really did is put this in a very clear, simple 5-step process that starts with, you've got to know how to position yourself, and it ends all the way to the last one, which is really you've got to understand how to profit from it. And if you look at, so many speakers and authors, I'll take them for an example, they might write a book, and then they end up with a garage full of books, but they never figured out how to create product, how to build a list, and how to really monetize that and build a business out of it. You might have somebody who is a small business consultant or coach, and they don't understand the positioning or the platform piece, which is something I know you understand in your business, is that how you position yourself and your credibility and authority as an expert in your space really drives the whole machine. So it's this very simple 5-step process that really answers those questions. And I think it's the most clear thing Mike has ever done. I think it's the most easy to use thing Mike has ever done. It's a combination of physical as well as a really great online piece, and it maximizes technology. So what Mike's done is created these 5 machines, these automated tech machines that do it for you. So if you're like me and you're not techie, it's very easy to use because literally it's just plug and play. Like you enter your information. If you can answer questions on the computer, then you can get these 5 steps done, and then it's automated. So I think it's a really, really fun project from that perspective.
I can't wait to get inside of it. I mean, I had the great privilege of being interviewed as part of the program, and I'm just so excited to be a part of it, and I can't wait to start using it. So,
and that's the thing we did is we put, in addition to the 5 steps, so there's a 5-step process that teaches you how to do it, but then Mike interviewed a whole slew of experts, all kinds of range. I mean, you're in there, Debbie Ford's in there, Darren Hardy, Oren Clapp, you name it, and they're in there, Tracy, and really ask them, okay, what advice would you give people today? What would you do differently? And so I think there's some really meaty, juicy stuff just in the interviews alone, and then there's the whole process on top of that, and then the tools.
Now this is, to date, probably your crowning achievement. I mean, it is such a gorgeous product. What were three of the most important aspects of the whole process or the machine that you wanted to really capture and highlight? And you said to yourself, you know what, with this one, if this was going to be my last product, I got to get that.
Yeah, that's what a fun question. I love that. So I think, from a just pure geeky product creator standpoint, I really feel like we've achieved the perfect balance between physical and online. And I'm really proud of the physical piece because I think the core training is so clear, it's so compelling, it's laid out so easy for people to use. And then all the how-to in terms of the tools and everything's online, which allows us to update it as technology changes, as distribution platforms change, because they're going to. So that's number one, is I just love that balance, and we're giving people so many, ways, but clear ways to go through the product and be successful with it. So that's really number one. Number two is, I think, Mike is in this place in his life, and I think, I am too, and the other people who worked on this project of just, it's what I went back to with the Ken Blanchard thing of just trying to put so much in there. And I think in this one, the focus was really, let's not put the kitchen sink in there. Let's really make the tools clear and make the steps clear. And if it have the discipline to say if it's not related to that step, then it's going to be too much information for people.
Right.
So I think that was really awesome, and it's just proven. I mean, it's how Mike built his business. It's how I'm building my business. It's how all of these people in their own individual niche have built their business.
Awesome. Well, as I said, I'm super excited to get it, and I want to offer anybody who is watching this video a really special promotion. There's a link in the description of this video of how you can find out more about Author Expert Marketing Machines. And if you end up investing in this amazing product through this link, you're going to get my entire TV publicity training program as a free bonus. Okay? And that is a huge value because that's one of the core elements of this whole thing, is how to position yourself as an expert.
And I know Mike went to you for expertise in that specific area too, so that's awesome.
Yeah, he's one of my really good students. I mean, he's been on a couple of times now in San Diego.
He listens.
Yeah, he implements. So, Pam, I want to thank you so much for joining me here today and for creating the Author Expert Marketing Machine. I'm really excited to use it. I'm so proud to be a part of it, and it's been a great privilege to interview you today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you, Clint. Have a great day.
You too.